So let's get this straight. What Africans, what the French colonies in Africa are suffering for more than 50 years is what the French citizens couldn't suffer just for a few months. Now, this is why I kept emphasizing that Africans, we must understand the world politics. We must understand that everyone in the world is focused on self-interest. It is all about the interest of French. It is all about the interest of the United States. It is all about the interest of the EU, the UK. It is all about self-interest. Now, France is burning. And the reason why it is burning is because now there was a budget. And in that budget, the government decided to cut public spending. And one of the public spendings that was affected was that the government decided to freeze pension and also to cut about 2 public holidays. The people said, no, you can't do this because we are already suffering unemployment. We are already suffering inflation, so on and so forth. You can't do this. And then there was this guy, the prime minister. He decided to challenge the budget. And of course, he's not the president guy. So there was a vote of no confidence in the House, and they decide to remove him. He willingly resigned. And then the French president, Emmanuel, decided to bring in his own guy, who is now the prime minister of France. But the people did not like this arrangement. And beside that, this court that is going on, the people did not like it because they said they have been, already facing the harsh reality of the collapsing of the economy, the collapsing of the government. They're already dealing with everything. And they said, no, we do not agree to this. So for this reason, let's block everything. Let's block the roads. Let's block all businesses, block all the banks, block everything. Now, to every African seeing these things happen, you must understand this. What is happening in France is just 5% of what has been happening to Mali, to Burkina Faso, to Cameroon, to Niger, to Guinea-Bissau. Just 5% of what has been happening to these countries just happened in France, and they couldn't take it. But these same people, these French citizens, they know what their government have been doing in Africa. They have been taking all African resources. Each of these French colonies, these countries, the French government take 80% of all their entire revenue. They take 80% of all their entire revenue, leaving 20% for the whole country to live with. Now, if this country, for example, if Mali end up producing whatever they produce in the country, they have to go to France and ask France, do you want this thing we have produced? And if France say, yes, we want it, France will take it. Then give them money in return. In other words, they take their mineral resources, their produce to France, then France give them paper in form of money. And if France say, no, we do not need these goods, then the country will say, okay, Mali will say, okay, let's go and sell it. France will say, no, you can't sell it. Take it back home. You can't sell it. They refuse these countries to sell to other countries, even if they themselves do not need it. That is how France has enslaved the government of these countries. Now, when the countries began to push back and say, no, to no longer work this way, when the young people of these countries began to say no, they began to take over powers and start driving away all French troops, French allies, French government, everything that has to do with French, they begin to cut ties with them. Now, few months later, the French government has collapsed. In other words, they have been living from the suffering of Africa. Their citizens know. They know these things. But do you know the irony of it all? These countries are not still given free access into France. They have to go through rigorous ways to get to France. That is if they can make it there alive. Now, of course, look at this again. There are influx of immigrants in France, especially in Marseille, in Paris. There are influx of immigrants. Now, the citizens say, no, we can't have these people coming here. We are already dealing with this. We are suffering this. We are suffering that. This is also part of the protest that is going on right now in France. And they said, no, we cannot keep letting these people in. Do you know that the survival of France has been the sweat of these people you have refused to come in? Now, you see the irony of this whole thing. Nobody cares about you. If you're an African, you're on your own. Nobody cares. They do not care about you. I keep telling Africans and I keep telling us, we have to do better. We have to get Africans on the same table. We need to start speaking in one tongue. We need to start defining our path. And we can only do this by unity. If you think your country is developing, your country has good infrastructure, your country is the best in Africa, so why will you unite with other African countries that are struggling? What if they come and destabilize your already existing good infrastructures in your country? Why would you unite with them? You are living in illusion, because if you decide to stand alone, there are predators. These countries, these Western countries are predators. They are going to come for you. They are going to come for your resources. They are going to tie your hands to the back and take that which belongs to you. This is what they have done in the past. This is the strategies they are still implementing today. Africans, we must be together. We must unite. We must have a place where we all sit and discuss the path of Africa, the pathway of African progress. These people do not care. They do not care one bit. What Africans have been suffering for more than 50 years, they have been enduring for more than 50 years. These people could not even bear it for a few months. Now they have decided to collapse the whole system, to block. They are even building blocks. They are building blocks on the expressway to block the road, to make sure that there is no access. They are burning down buildings. They are burning down banks. Just 5%, just a little 5% inconvenience, just a 5% discomfort of what these African countries that have used their blood to develop France are going through. Just 5%, they couldn't hold it. Of course, they didn't see it coming. They didn't see Africa rising. They didn't see how Africa can wake up one day and say no to France. They were so confident that France has done so much, so Africa will continue to allow France to take over, to take 80% of everything they own. Then in return, what happens? They chase you away from their borders. The world has changed. Everything has changed. Policies are changing. Africans must brace up and embrace oneness. We must be together in unity for us to counter this Western self-centeredness. They have no interest in you as African. They have no interest in African nation. They have no interest in the African people except our resources. That is all that matters to them. It is all about their interest. Our resources is all they see, is all they wish to grab, is all they want. So when they are coming in, you must understand this. In Africans, we must not let this happen again. We have to do business with those who want to do business. If China comes in, I want to do business, we have to do business with China. If Russia comes in, I want to do business, we have to do business with Russia. If the United States come in, I want to do business, we have to do business with the United States. We don't want anything free. We don't want any humanitarian assistance. We don't want anything that you will give to us and then ask for something else in return. If you are bringing goods to us, we have to be giving you money. That is it. If you want us to buy your goods, we have to buy it with money, not our resources. And if you want to buy our goods, we have to sell it to you and you give us money. Let it be transactional. Let's trade. That is what we must do in Africa. We don't want no handout. Don't give us nothing. Let's do business. If Turkey wants to come in, let's do business. Let it be based on business. And we can only achieve this if Africans come together. There shouldn't be no separate negotiation. Imagine if the United States come to a place like Lesotho and want to negotiate business. They know that Lesotho is weak. It's a smaller nation and they are mighty. Imagine how the negotiation will be. It is going to be one-sided. It will be like the United States is trying to render help to Lesotho by trading with them. So let's cut that bypass and let them come to only one source, which is, if it is the African Union, let them come straight to the African Union to negotiate a deal that they want to do with Lesotho. Let no country come to separate countries. Come to Lesotho, for example, or come to Ghana, for example. Let them come to the African Union and negotiate the business. Then before they can do the business with that particular country, let Africa have one voice. These people do not care. They do not care. If things are going wrong in their country, they burn everything down. But what about what the Africans have been suffering for more than 50 years? Thank you for watching. This is Cause Narrative. Thank you, and God bless.